Pranayama, and welcome to the Dais Global Yoga Festival in association with Yoga Mission and Yogis Without Borders that celebrates the International Day of Education during the Learning Planet Festival. Join us as we bring to you interactive workshops, learning opportunities, and practicing yoga together. It's our great pleasure to bring an experienced yoga teacher to you, Gladka, today, who will be presenting Pranayama, the history, psychosomatics, and energetic effects. She is a certified yoga teacher by the Ukrainian Federation of Yoga and the European Yoga Union of Yoga. She's a member of Yogis Without Borders, an international team of experts spreading the knowledge and practices of yoga tradition to anyone seeking transformation through its methods. She is passionate about bridging the gap between ancient knowledge and its modern application by taking yoga and meditation off the mat into daily life of international professionals. She's teaching dedicated workshops on yogic breathing and provides yoga training to multinational companies. So it's our great pleasure to share with you now and introduce to you Diana. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you so much, Divya. Thank you, everyone, for joining this beautiful yoga festival, and specifically so for such a noble cause, in my view, to celebrate the International Day of Education. So, as just mentioned by Divya, today's session will be dedicated to the topic of breathing, and specifically yogic breath, which is called pranayama. Give me a second. I have a couple of slides for you. So I'll just give you an idea what will be happening today before we even start. I have some slides. It's not too much. It will not be too overwhelming, I promise. There's already too much information, but I really want to give some different and beautiful quotations of the historical role of yoga as it was seen from the very first mentionings of this practice in the yogic texts. So for that, we need some slides. And after that intro, which hopefully gives us an idea why and what is the historic really important place of yogic breath in the whole corpus of yogic techniques, we will actually dive into guided breathing practice, where I'll be slowly but steadily preparing our body and breathing muscles for the practice, from the very basic, the full yogic breath, to a couple of variations of pranayamas to either invigorate our state, to bring the energy up, or otherwise then to relax us, to prepare for more calm state of mind and the psyche. So without any further ado, I will be sharing the screen with some slides. And the last housekeeping news is that I'm actually also sitting on my chair. You don't need a yoga mat, you don't need a fancy yoga clothes or anything. I can imagine many of you are watching us streamed live on Facebook during the Learning Planet Festival or at your home. And the only thing you need is a comfortable sit where you can a little bit relax, but also enjoy today's practice. That's all. So if you have that, you're all set. Now, I will be sharing my screen. And give me a second, please, for that. Yes. So this is the topic for today. And this is what we're going to look into. And just one more request, please, before we start. If you can, please open your cameras. That would be super helpful for me as a teacher to get the connection with you, to understand if whatever I'm saying is actually interesting, is it clear? And also specifically for when we start the practice, because there will be some instructions. It's very helpful for me to understand if I need to, add some more kind of specific detail. So make sure we're all on the same page. So it would be really nice to see your faces. Thank you, Muskan. Lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. So starting with the historical background, why the breath is so important. So I once heard, read an idea, that we have unbroken chain or line of breath going through us to our ancestors. And the idea is that before we're born, our mothers are breathing for us. We are we are enjoying the breath that they provide for us. And so they mothers for our mothers, and going on and on. So it's like, in a way, there is this unbroken chain of breath, which is a life itself, which is going from us, from one generation into another, which in itself already, in my view, is a very good metaphorical idea of why breath is life. And so another important note here is that the breath is in a way controlled by our brain and the consciousness. So it's a bridge between our biological and the spiritual nature. Thank you for joining with the camera. And so the Sanskrit word, for those of you who might be knowing Hindi or Sanskrit and joining from India, would be familiar for you. It's, prana. It's used both for the breath, but also for the life force or the energy, from the earliest mentioning of this term, from Mahabharata time, etc. And so, funny enough, though, it doesn't matter where you come from, which language you use, we can find the similar connotation in many, many languages around the world, that the breath, the same word, the same root verb will be used for the breath, but also life or the spirit or the energy. There are a couple of examples here, all the English speakers. Inspiration, in terms of inhalation, but also for being inspired. What makes you gasp for the air? What makes you hold your breath so you're so inspired, right? I'm not sure, maybe someone who is a French speaker here joining us from Learning Planet Festival, but I think it's something similar in French as well. So I'm a Russian speaker. We have a duch, dышать, it's for breath, but also for the spirit. Latin word anima for the breath and the soul, Arabic for nerves, Greek for pneuma, and Chinese, maybe some of you have heard about qi, yeah, right? So that's the breath, that's the air, but also the vital energy. So, and we can see that, in a way, it's a very international, universal idea that the breath contains the energy for the life, and it's somehow linked to our spirit, to our soul, if you will, depend on what's kind of closer to you. And so coming back to the pranayama, the notion of, we just talked about prana, but then what is the pranayama? So prana, as we've said, life, breath, vital force, and ayama, there is a long A there, is a control, but also a kind of a very rigorous, specific control. So it's not only the breath control, but in a way we could say that it's a practice aimed at making the breath controllable, manageable, putting it under your will, under your power. And so pranayama, as I was pointing initially before even starting, has been central to the practice of yoga from the earliest mentioning of its techniques, whatever we can find now. And the earliest text I could find was Adharva Veda, and it's between the 12th and the 10th century BCE, refers to the breath as the sacrifice. Then we'll also find some notions that Buddha was practicing very vigorous breath retentions around the 4th century BCE. And then later in the Middle Ages, it became quite profound in terms of very elaborated, very dedicated breathing techniques appeared in the corpus, specifically so also in Hatha Yoga tradition. What is important, though, to note, and I think in a way it's why I'm so passionate about this topic, is that the purpose of pranayama was very specific. It was considered historically, traditionally, as a psychological practice aimed at alternate practitioners' state of psyche or mind, whatever you call it. And so to prepare him for more sophisticated and the complex practices of yoga, which according to Patanjali, for example, would be fixation, withdrawal, pratyahara, fixation, dharana, concentration, your attention, and meditation, dhyana. So then after the practitioner has put his breath under control, he had neutralized, stabilized his mind, his emotions, put them under control, he is actually able to practice pranayama or other more sophisticated practices of yoga. And so I think to that extent, we need to make a little bit of historical justice to this practices, because obviously today the shift is a little bit on the other side. We see a lot of postural practices, bodily practices, asanas, and to a certain extent, we have less maybe popularity for the breathing practices, but I see it changing, and hopefully, this will be more and more that we will see that shift of practitioners of yoga, teachers of yoga, more kind of giving attention to this very important and the core idea behind the yoga practice of the full dedicated breath. Now, Why actually, when we already gave some an idea that it was historically the first one, historically very important, but the question is why, right? I just gave you that overall statement that it was considered to put the practitioner's mind under control and decide kind of to stabilize it. But what do the ancient texts actually say about that? And so there are a couple of beautiful, in my view, inspirational citations, which can give you an idea of what the ancient practitioners and the teachers, how did they explain that connection? So there is a beautiful quote from Yoga Kundalini Upanishad, 8th century BCE. There are two reasons making our mind wander: vasanas, desires, and prana, the breath. If our desires can be mastered, the other one, meaning the breath, can be controlled. From these two, the first one to master must be the breath. So we see in a way some sort of a hierarchy in terms of it's more important and maybe easier to control your breath first, to stabilize your mind and put your desires under control. Yoga Bija, it's already from the 12th century CE, the same idea. The mind is not mastered by various kinds of reflections. So the method of conquering it is prana and nothing else. And just to finish that point from Amrita Siddhi, 11th century CE, you cannot control mind with the mind. You can't beat fire with the fire. I think it's a very beautiful idea, and it's in a way very logical. How many times we want to change the course of our thinking, to change the thoughts, to change the obsession of certain topic. And then we say to ourselves, no, stop thinking about that. It's like somebody comes and says, don't think about pink elephant. The only thing you can think about is the pink elephant, right? So in the same way, you cannot beat the fire with the fire. It's very difficult to alter your thoughts or your mind with the same thoughts. We need something else. And that tool, according to the yogic tradition, is actually the breath. And then continuation of the same thought, from the Yoga Bija as well, beautiful metaphor. The breath is where the mind is, and the mind is where the breath is. Mixed together like milk and water, they are fused. They thus act in the same way. When one is stopped, the other is stopped. When one is active, the other is active. So controlling the breath, holding the breath, you start controlling your mind. And then from Patanjali, the same idea we saw before from Yoga Sutras, as a result of breath control, the mind becomes capable of fixation, meaning mental steadiness. And later text, quite familiar, Hatha Pradipika from the 15th century, as long as the breath is restrained in the body, the mind is calm. Very clear. And what's really impressive is that you can find dozens and dozens of these citations in the various texts, from the early ones that I was citing, like 8th century BCE, and to the latest, very already refined, developed corpus of the Hatha Yoga texts, Hatha Pradipika, etc. But the idea is the same. There is like no kind of confusion that you cannot control your psyche. And to remind you, this is one of the first definitions of yoga. Yoga is control of the senses in Hatha Yoga Upanishad, right? So we cannot actually practice yoga without controlling our breath, without learning how to manage our breath. So after this, hopefully inspirational intro, now the main question that we are getting into is there anything we can relate to in the modern life? Some of you may be skeptical, can say, okay, this is brilliant. These are quite old texts. Is there any relevant information nowadays? So obviously there is. If there is enough time after the practice, I will give you some latest research data on this topic. But just think about this, which is very obvious for you. The breath is not only biological act, but also psychological act. To laugh, to cry, to sigh, to yawn, to hyperventilate, or to hold the breath, we need the breath, right? And it has some emotional connotation to it as well. Breathing demonstrates that link between the mind and the body, like incredibly fast, even with our language. We say when somebody is has fear or anxious, he would be saying something with a bated breath, right? Or holds one breath. And it's very easy, in a way, understanding the psychological nature of the breath, you can definitely read someone's current state of psyche. how they feel. You know, when the breathing is very shallow, or somebody is super stressed, and you are in the meeting and everyone is holding their breath because of very important information that we discussed now, we anyway read the body language, we read this, we feel the other people, their energy, also by the way how they breathe or how they talk. Yeah, because if somebody is getting really tensed, stressed, the breath, the voice becomes shallow as well, is trembling. So and another kind of, it gets very also funny sometimes, and I've heard this from, for example, a diving instructor, yeah, that it's absolutely impossible to have a panic attack also under the water, biologically impossible, if you're breathing with your full belly, calmly and deeply. You know, so we see that it's quite obvious, it's quite kind of, you know, known to us if we think about it, that breath has a psychological background as well. And so, you know, if we're breathing fully with our belly, we can calm down, we can stop the panic attack. But other way around, if you restrict someone's breath in the belly, you can eat out their confidence, you can really make them anxious, nervous and stressed. So the question is, okay, there is this link. We can see it from the language. We can see it written in the others people body language, or reflecting on our own breathing patterns and the body language too. Now, why is this so important, and why I want to welcome new and familiar faces? Why I want to reiterate that before we get even into the pranayama practices, it's very important to check if we are breathing properly or not. And why? Because unfortunately nowadays, majority of us, some research says about 90% of people are not breathing even to the normal, natural, biological capacity of what we have. So most of us, unfortunately, today are the vertical breathers. Let's just make a very simple test. Make couple of deep breaths. Just put your feet on the floor, drop your shoulders down, relax, and just make a couple of deep breaths. And then put one hand on your chest, one on your belly. And so what's interesting though, that if you haven't really looked specifically in the breathing, if you hadn't been doing sport or yoga or singing or anything else which really trains your breath, quite possible you will be breathing vertically. What does it mean? That instead of the belly sticking out first during the diaphragmal breathing as it should be, your whole torso raises up. So this is a called vertical breathing. It's a little bit shallow. So the belly doesn't expand forward and the chest doesn't really goes forward as it should. And so how does it happen? For example, if some of you has kids, when you observe them, you see that absolutely naturally and normally they breathe with their belly, especially, you know, if they sleep or in the calm state, you see their belly popping out and in, popping out and in, deflating, inflating, deflating, very naturally, very easily. So that what happens then between the age of 5 to 10, our breathing pattern changes from the horizontal breath, where we really engage the diaphragm, to the vertical one. What happens? There are many possible explanations. Well, kids go to school, they start sitting a lot, which in a way is already not super relaxing posture, right? Then, for example, tight clothes. Then, for example, body image in terms of the flat belly looks sexy, you should hold it, you should be more slim and nice, right? Or, for example, another one is a cultural conditioning. Boys don't cry. And so to avoid uncomfortable emotions, we would suddenly start restricting our breath and restricting all of these emotions to here, to the chest. So this obviously brings a lot of tension in our neck, around our this shoulder range, the jaw clenches, and a lot of other issues with the lower back, because the proper breathing with the diaphragm stabilizes the core muscles, the lower back, and then healthy and stable. And so obviously it reduces the oxygen intake, so we feel a little bit more fatigued, less concentrated, all of that, right? Because we are not utilizing all this beautiful organism we have by nature, and it doesn't function properly. But what is even more important on psychological level, that in our body we have a lot of receptors through the vagus nerve that connects, you know, from the brainstem here down to the really the down of the pelvic floor muscles. And so through this nervous connection, the body is constantly, the brain is collecting the signals from the body. And so interestingly enough, the receptors connected to our diaphragm And when we breathe with the diaphragm, it brings the message to the brain that everything is fine. So it kicks in actually the very relaxing parasympathetic nervous system response, rest and digest. Whenever we start breathing in the upper part of our chest, especially here when we're a little bit anxious or stressed, the breath is shallow around the shoulders area, it brings the message to the brain that actually it's the stress, it's the dangerous situation, and we get into flight or fight response and kicks in the sympathetic nervous system. And so when we translate it into how we breathe nowadays, most of the time, and it's the vertical breathing where the breath is concentrated here in the upper part of our chest, this is in a way also explains why we feel the chronic stress, because the sympathetic nervous system is always on and we don't have enough time to give our nervous system, our psyche, to calm down in a parasympathetic mode response to balance our psyche, right? And so this is, I think, could be, I hope, the biggest motivation for you now to dig into, okay, how do we kick in the proper diaphragmal breath? Because as I said before, we can't even get into the pranayama practice if our diaphragm is not working at all, right? So what do we do now? I want to turn off the screen share because I want to start the practice. How do I do that? Give me a second, please. Oh, somebody did it for me. Thank you. So what do we do? Let's first explore the diaphragm, right? You take your fingertips and right where your, I have the top here, so right under the lower rib cages. Yeah, the lower ribs you get with the hands, or it doesn't matter if your clothes is on, I just wanted to show you, it's right here, yeah? So you get in there with your hands. And first you feel like there is something which is kind of doesn't let you in. And this is exactly your diaphragm. It connects to the lower ribs, the floating ribs, yeah? And so it might be very uncomfortable first when you try to squeeze the fingertips in. So try yourself with a deep inhale. And on the exhale, relax the belly, allow it to deflate. And then your fingers suddenly go in. You see how much? Inhale, and your fingers are pushed out. This is exactly your diaphragm muscle. And exhale, they dive in deeper again. And you can slowly move them to the sides of the ribs. So you really feel your diaphragm now. And a little bit to the outer side again. And so if your fingers doesn't stick out back on your inhale, so your diaphragm is probably restricted. So one more deep inhale. And exhale. Okay, relax your hands. Beautiful. So this is exactly what you felt now. This is your diaphragm. This is where it's connected. If it wasn't unpleasant, it was too stiff, too kind of, sensitive, that's a sign that's probably it's constricted, it's tense, and hence it cannot expand properly when you breathe. Now, I promised you that will be some also standing practice. So this is what we do now. Please stand up. I hope everyone can do that, because now I want to show you one more exercise, which is very easy for engaging your proper belly breath. And this is the exercise I saw in the professional singing training. This is how the singers are training their diaphragm. This is a very funny one, but please bear with me. So this is what we do. You soften your knees and then you cough. So you see, when we cough, we engage our diaphragm. We kind of exhale and put the belly in. Now what you do, first you cough and then inhale, cough, inhale, cough, cough. So this looks very funny. It looks very silly. It doesn't matter. Important what it does. It really kicks in your diaphragm like that. So when we cough, as I said, your belly pushed in And when you inhale after diaphragm engaged, it's very easy to push the belly out and expand the diaphragm. So again, just soften a little bit your knees, relax your shoulders. Let's do 5 more times. Cough, inhale, cough, inhale. Okay, lovely. Shake off any tension in your legs, in your arms. That was a trick, but I hope it works for the most. If it didn't, don't worry, we have another one. This is a proper yogic technique called Uddiyana Bandha. And how it is done, I will first show you, and then we will do all together 3 times. So you make a full deep inhale through your nose. Sharp exhale through the open mouth. Bend your knees and then squeeze your belly as you exhale and hold the breath on the exhale. This is how it looks in dynamic motion. And you hold the breath as long as you can. So a couple of more tips before we get into that. It's very comfortable to squat. You're in a way squatting with a straight spine, and to make sure your spine is straight, it's easy to have your elbows straight. Doesn't matter if your hands are here or there, but you see this way, it's very difficult to make it wrong, to arch the spine or to really kind of put your neck up or down. So this is your spine straight. Beautiful. Now let's do 3 times all together. Make a long, deep inhale. Sharp exhale through the mouth. Hold the breath, squeeze the belly. Hold as long as you can. You might get a little bit dizzy, just looking to one side to calm yourself down because you're a little bit hyperventilated, right? Or CO2 is building up, actually. 2 more times. Inhale. Sharp exhale. Squeeze the belly, hold the breath. And now calm down your breath. The last one. Make a deep, long inhale. Well done. Now we need to release that built in CO2 in our body. Open your legs wider to the sides and open your hands to the sides on the deep, long inhale. When you exhale, open your mouth and drop your body down from the sound from your mouth and your belly. Inhale, raise with the hands through the sides up, engage your core, straighten your neck. Exhale. Last inhale, come up. And exhale, drop everything down. And here, stay with your torso down and wiggle your body from the side to the side. Keep your knees straight, your hands, your legs strong, and just wiggle your torso from the side to the side. Relax your arms, shoulders, neck, head, breathe. On the inhale, bring both hands on your hips, squeeze the core, squeeze the glutes, straighten the neck, and push through the crown of the head upwards with a straight spine. Slowly come up. Bring your feet parallel to each other. Relax your hands, shake off your legs if there was any tension. Beautiful. Now, before sitting down, and while we still have this active fire here built in the core, in the diaphragm, bring one hand, actually 2 hands on the belly, and we'll do the diaphragmal breathing or the belly breath now. Inhale, sticking your belly out, inflating it as an air balloon. Exhale, release. 2 more times. So you see, I'm in a way getting suddenly pregnant here, yeah, because it's really inflating as the air balloon. This is how much actually your belly can inflate if you can really relax your diaphragm and engage it fully. Breathe. Try to inhale specifically only in your belly first, not engage in the breath in your chest. 3 more deep breaths. You can close your eyes, focus on your sensations in your belly, that your hand is being pushed out by your belly on the inhale. Relax your torso. It's not with the core muscles that you're sticking the belly out, it's the diaphragm itself. The last breath. Okay, that was great. And I hope that did kick in your diaphragmal breathing in. Please don't sit yet. We're having one more exercise for engaging the proper breathing muscles in the chest, and then we will sit down to continue the breathing practice. So we invoke these breathing muscles. Actually, the core breathing muscle is the diaphragm, but there are a lot of breathing muscles here, intercostal muscles between the ribs here. So first, this is also very important, just with the thumb and the pointing finger, just massage this muscle here. Feel it, that it can be actually quite tense, especially when the posture is a little bit compromised here, when the shoulders going inwards. So this muscle is usually shortened and quite tense. And it can be quite not pleasant actually feeling, but this is exactly why we need to engage that muscle. Yes, beautiful. Okay, relax your hands. Feet parallel to each other, hip distance apart, and a couple of just kind of warm up rolls in your chest from the side to the side. Keep your feet parallel. Okay, relax your hands. Now, the next breathing exercise is a variation of pranayama, and it's also very helpful for prevention of complications after COVID, for actually helping your lungs to recover after other, respiratory diseases or like recent cold, anything like that. So how we're gonna do it? We make a full, first I demo show, and then we do all together. You make a full deep inhale with the focus on your chest. Now expanding your chest. Then you hold your breath, and then you use this, you make a fist, and you use the bony parts of your fist to massage. As you hold, you massage all those breathing muscles under the collarbones, on the sides of the rib cage, intercostal muscles, under the breast tissue. If you're a woman, be very gentle with the breast tissue around it. If you're a man, you can, go rub a little bit around the breast as well. We hold and massage. On the exhale, we're tapping gently but firmly with the fist. On the exhale with the humming sound. So we create internal vibration also to release some of the fluids from the lungs, to release this some tension there as well. So this is the first one. And the second one, we do the same. Inhale, hold the breath, massage. But on the exhale, we do this also to create the vibration in the throat, to clean the throat. Now let's do all together. I'll be also guiding you. But now you know what to expect. Make a full deep inhale. Hold the breath, drop your chin down, make a fist massage under collarbones, on the sides of the rib cage, under the breast. Exhale with the humming sound. Quite normally, here you feel like clearing a little bit your throat and your lungs, because indeed some of the blockages get released. There is a flow of energy, oxygen, prana. So don't stop yourself. If you want to cough, clear your lungs, your throat. The second time we do with the ah. And so about the tapping, try to create a little bit of vibration with the tapping as well in the chest. Make a deep, long inhale. Hold the breath, draw your chin down, massage. And now, clear your lungs, your throat if you need to. Open your legs wider side. Make a full deep inhale. One more time for the cleanse and exhale 3 times. Inhale. Exhale. Through the mouth. Inhale. And exhale through the mouth. Last one. Inhale. Sharp exhale. And here again, stay lower down with your torso down and wiggle it from the side to the side. It nicely releases the lower back, relax your shoulders, arms, head, neck, breathe. On the inhale, bring both hands on your hips, squeeze the core, engage the glutes, and slowly come upwards with a straight neck, very gentle, very slowly. Straight neck, engage the core, squeeze the glutes, come up. Bring both feet parallel to each other. Okay, and now pull your chair gently back for continuing this seated practice. So I hope everyone is feeling fine, because obviously the breath hold builds up the CO2, but also it might be a little bit unusual, the vibration, the sound. So it can cause different emotional states as well. So if you got a little bit dizzy, just relax on the chair. Now, while our breathing muscles in the chest are still warmed up and active, let's engage the full breath in the chest. So how we can do it, you can bring one hand on the side of the rib cage, for example, here, and another one here on the chest. In a proper breathing, the chest expands forward, upward, and to the sides. So obviously a little bit to the back as well, but this is the 3 main dimensions. So inhale, relax your feet, put them on the floor. So relax them completely, sit with the sit bones firmly into the chair. Try to keep your spine straight though, so avoid hyper bending your lower back. Push your pubic bone a little bit in. Draw your chin down parallel to the floor. And make a full inhale in your chest. Relax your shoulders, relax your elbows. Calm down your breath and try to make that deep, long, even inhale and exhale in your chest. You can close your eyes, just observing how it feels under your hands if the chest is expanding. Breathe. Drop your shoulders down, relax your neck, relax your face. You can even wiggle your head from the side to the side. And see where it's easier for you to expand the chest. For some, it's maybe to the side, it's more obvious. For some, forward, or for some, up. 2 more deep breaths. And now release the hand from the side of the rib cage onto your belly. And now we start connecting the 2 breaths, the belly breath and the chest breath, with a full yogic breath. Inhale, push your belly out, inflate it as the air balloon. Continue the inhale, go and push the air into your chest. Exhale, release the belly, and then exhale from your chest. So inhale into your belly and then the chest. Exhale from your belly and then the chest. Inhale, belly, chest. Exhale from behind the chest, trying to make it longer, smoother, deeper. 3 more deep breaths. You can close your eyes, observe the flow of the air. The last deep inhale. Exhale from your belly and then the chest. Continue the inhale in the same way. Open your hands through the sides, upwards. Keep your spine straight. Close the palms above together. Inhale, reach up, elongate in the spine. Maybe wiggle your spine from the side to the side, making it long and straight. Draw your chin down, parallel to the floor. Reach the fingertips up, the crown of the head up. Inhale, up. Exhale, bend to the right. Nicely stretching the left side. And ground your left hip into the chair or into the floor if you're standing. Inhale, come to the center. Keep on breathing. Inhale, belly, chest. Exhale from belly and the chest. Now inhale, come up. Exhale, bend to the left. Grounding your right hip into the chair or right foot into the floor. Breathe. Inhale, come to the center. Exhale, slowly release the hands and now twist to the right. So your left hand goes either on the right knee or on the chair, and then you turn behind your right shoulder. Keep this full yogic breath going. Both hips on the floor, on the chair, both feet on the floor if you're standing. Breathe through the twist. Inhale, chin goes forward first and then the shoulders to the center, and exhale, twist to the left. Left shoulder turns behind, right hand goes on the left knee or on the chair on the side. Turn your left shoulder behind and your chin following your left shoulder behind. Breathe, relax your hips, relax your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders down. Inhale, chin to the center, then shoulders to the center. And you can release your hands on your knees and just calm down and breathe normally. You can stop the full yogic breath and just observe how you feel now after literally a few minutes of breathing and the few stretches. And so these are exactly the effects of the proper deep breathing. The parasympathetic response kicked in. So we feel more calm, more grounded, more neutral. Whenever you're ready, slowly you can open your eyes. Okay, that was the full yogic breath, the main, most important pranayama of Hatha yoga. Yeah, and this is exactly how we breathe throughout the full yoga practice, even the postural yoga practice. We didn't do too much of yoga now, just one, bend to the right, bend to the left, twist. But you hopefully acknowledge if you breathe properly with the full yogic breath, engaging your diaphragm, your chest, breathing properly, it's much more deeper effect, and it somehow gets directly into your psyche, changing completely your emotional kind of background, and you can more easily focus and concentrate on your body and where you are now. Now we still have 2 or 3 pranayamas. So now I want to give you 2 types of breathing. The one is to, as we're a little bit more relaxed now, to bring you a little bit kind of in a higher altered state, to bring your energy up, to give a little bit of sympathetic nervous system boost through the breath. So for you, a very easy rule of thumb: when we inhale, we stimulate the sympathetic nervous system. We stimulate, like we actually stimulate ourselves. When we exhale, we kick in parasympathetic nervous response. So from there, you have a very easy idea how you can use your breath depending how you feel now. So if you're a little bit too relaxed or drowsy and you can't focus, for example, you're driving and you still need to go far, or you're at work and you need to, you're full on like alert, then you should focus on the inhale. And the next pranayama I'm inviting to practice with you is Kapalabhati. Or the one which is like cleansing the skull in a way, because when we start breathing now, you will be also focusing between your eyebrow, and we will be focusing only on the inhale 3 times longer than exhale. How it looks like, the length of the inhale is exactly 3 times longer than the exhale. Exhale is very sharp and quick. So this is my belly, so it's easier for you to see. Yeah, and you see it's only the belly moving. We can start very slow and easy, and then slowly, as you feel more comfortable, you can speed up a little bit. There is no right mode or kind of speed. It's all just the beginner's practice. So you can put one hand on the belly, and a couple of cues here. Try not to bend your spine to kind of imitate the belly breath, and try not to breathe too much with your chest. This is exactly the belly breath. So inhale and then sharp exhale. Okay, you got it. That's enough. And now I want to introduce you the following. As you got the sequence, the practice, you can gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or even if it's open eyes, you can direct your focus of attention between your eyebrows. And then you can start breathing a little bit more easy, more gentle, more shallow in a way, but still the same breathing pattern. Let's try. Release your hand on your knees. Make a full deep inhale. And so try to acknowledge how you feel now. Where is your energy? If it shifted upwards towards the head, or down, or around your body, what had changed? And once you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. So usually the energy shifts upwards. And so this is exactly the effect of the practice. It kind of goes towards your head. Maybe even you feel it a little bit around your head. It might be a little bit of very unusual feeling. And so suddenly it's also in a way helps us to, open the eyes to see brighter, more clear. It kind of brings more energy to the head. So it's a very good one when you need to focus, concentrate, and in a way, stimulate yourself, right? So we engage longer inhale. Now, other way around, we can use another one where we stress more the exhale to again calm our our nervous system down. A very easy one, and it's very practical one. If you're in a stressful meeting or anything, you can remember it, or before going on the stage, for example, to calm down your breath and the nerves. Make a full deep inhale, and on the exhale with the closed teeth but the open lips, we will be saying the sound. It will be a long one though, so make a very deep long inhale, because that's deep exhalation with the sound S till the bottom of your belly. Just little instruction here. So your belly starts with the sound sticking more to the back of your spine, and this is also engages your diaphragm. And so the next inhale, try to make very deep, and it will be very easy for you because your belly will be completely sticking in with the sound S, and then it will pop up out naturally on the inhale. Yeah, so make a very deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale deeply. And one more deep inhale into your belly and then the chest. It's now very easy to engage your diaphragm. Inhale. Slowly open your eyes once you're ready. And so there are two more very easy pranayamas I want to show you. The first one is to build on the long exhale. It's called Brahmari, or the humming of the bee. Yeah, well, you can alter your exhale when you're very stressed or nervous. You can just make your exhale longer. Let's say exhale, inhale 5 count or 3 counts, exhale 5, and then longer. So this pranayama, Brahmari, or bee humming, is also makes us exhale very long and very deep, but it also creates a nice, very pleasant vibration under your skull. And so it's also in a way internal massage for your brain, which also gives a very interesting buzz in your head. So for those who's going to do it the first time, I think you would really feel something for the first time, and then you would like it. There are a couple of options to do it. We will do the very easy. The first one, you just make a deep inhale. On the exhale, you make a humming sound as the bee. Inhale. Mm. Mm. The last deep inhale. Mm. Breathe deeply and acknowledge how you feel now. Also, how the energy shifted, if it's also now around your head that you feel it most. And overall, how you feel emotionally, energetically, more calm or more alert and active. So whenever you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Okay, so that was a very obvious, I hope, effect again of immediate change and the shift in our mind, in a way, emotional state as well. A very strong relaxation response. So there's obviously a lot of effects. There is a internal vibration, there is a sound. So it's a combination of different techniques of yoga. But in terms of the remembering the key here, as long exhale calms you down immediately. Yeah, so I hope you felt something interesting and different with this one. And maybe your colleagues were, if you were humming in the office now, learn something new about you too. Now, but if you need it urgently and you cannot hum and you cannot make a sound of the b or for that sake, just exhale longer. You know, when you're in a stressful meeting or in the middle of some important conversation with your loved one, and it's getting a little bit emotionally intense, just focus on the deep exhale. And you know, some people, where whenever I teach the pranayama workshop, they were like, yeah, but people will understand you're exhaling longer and weirdly. But then the question is, okay, but when you're stressed and you don't breathe and you're like, they still read exactly that you are stressed. So it better you obviously exhale longer, you know, say, okay, give me a second, rather than you say something that you would regret about. So this is the effect of, you know, very powerful breath in action, and how you can bring it from your yoga mat into your real life. And so before we wrap up, and I'm very conscious that it's the middle of the day in Europe and you might need to go back to work and you are super relaxed now, it might be a little bit difficult. So I would invite everyone now to practice the closing pranayama, which is supposed to balance both of our sides, the of the nervous system, sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the active, alert, and the relaxed one, by engaging the breath with the alternate nostril. So it's called anuloma viloma in Sanskrit, or it's called alternate nostril breathing in the English modern translation. So for ladies, we will do the left hand yoni mudra, for gentlemen, the right one. And so the middle and the pointer finger are touching the palm. The the ring finger and the thumb are straight. So just this pointing and the middle one are touching the thumb. For gentlemen, it's the same one, but on the right hand. And it has to do that according to yogic tradition, the right side is a male, the left side is a female, according to the yogic energetic channels, Ida Pingala, etc. But without getting too deep into that. So left hand for ladies, right for gentlemen in Yoni Mudra. Now, first I will give the guidance for the ladies and the men mirror it, but I will say it in a second. So ladies start with the left hand, thumb touching the left nostril and inhaling through the right nostril. And so when I say inhale, we engage the full yogic breath. Inhale belly and then the chest, exhale from the belly, the chest fully. So inhale through the right nostril. Now with the ring finger close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. So the gentlemen do exactly everything the same, but with the right hand and opposite nostril. So inhale with one nostril. Exhale with the opposite. Inhale through the same. As you exhale, change the nostrils. Inhale through the same. Exhale, change. And the last two circles of the breath, relax your shoulders, relax your hands, relax your neck. As you exhale, change the nostril. Inhale the same. Exhale, change. Release your hand on the knee. Relax your shoulders. Continue the full yogic breath. Drop your shoulders down. And let's make one round of circles clockwise in your neck. Continue the full yogic breath. Close your eyes, direct your attention to your neck muscles. Keep your lower back straight and keep the breath going. So direct your breath to the areas where you feel most of the tension in your neck. And then exhale, push the circle into the opposite direction, counterclockwise, with a full breath. Push your shoulders down away from your ears, slide the shoulder blades behind together. And the last, very gentle, very pleasant circle for your neck. Straighten your head, drop your shoulders down, drop your chin down parallel to the floor, and continue the breath. And you can just breathe normally as you breathe usually, but acknowledge maybe if something had changed in how you feel, but also how you breathe. Maybe your belly is more relaxed now to breathe a little bit more deeper. Maybe you feel a little bit more space in your chest to expand more on the inhale. And overall, how your emotional, energetic state had shifted. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Okay, the energy had shifted in the room. I can sense it through the Zoom cameras. I hope you feel the difference, and I hope you firsthand experience so sad in your skin now how powerful the breath is. Changing one little dynamics, focusing on the exhale or the inhale, and we didn't do much to breath retentions, but it's also quite powerful and stimulating. That can make a huge difference. And so this is exactly the state after, or that condition of your mind, of your psyche after this breathing practice. You can then more easily and more efficiently get into the, let's say, meditation practice if you wish to continue. Yeah, but for those who continue with the day, carrying on with the work, life, whatever, just hope you remember two important things. Breath is important. Breath is central to yoga. I would bluntly, strongly argue there is no proper yoga practice without the proper breathing, because otherwise there is no difference between the yoga and the fitness. If we do the same poses, or even in fitness or acrobatics, it can be even more spectacular. But this is exactly what's the difference. And hopefully today, after there's a little bit of a historic background, you understand why the pranayama has been so central and so important. And hopefully you got a little bit inspired to practice a little bit of breath work as well. That was it from me. I super grateful for your attention, and have a very safe and pleasant day, everyone. Thanks again. If there are any questions or comments, please, we're around probably for a minute or so for a chat, or unmute yourself. Otherwise, if there are no questions.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much for sharing not only your precious time, your precious breath, and your precious knowledge. It was a beautiful researched presentation that you gave, as well as the practice, and I'm sure that everybody here has really enjoyed it. We've got people across Europe and India, as well as on the live feed. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And breath is so important. And for those of you who've been attending all of our sessions, you will have enjoyed Jyoti Joy Manuel last night as well, who was really focusing on the breath, as well as the breath as part of our yoga session yesterday, which was demonstrated by Esther, actually. Esther is one of our people from Holland, So great to see you again, Esther. So for those of you who will be joining again later this evening, we will be having Andrew Seeley in just 4 hours time. So exactly 4 hours from now, we'll be joined by Andrew Seeley for joining us from Costa Rica. Of course, he's LA based, and we look forward to that invigorating vinyasa flow with him. And we also have tomorrow, again at 8 a.m. Central European time, a pranayama session led by me as well. And then in the afternoon, we'll be joined by Charlotta Martinez, the founder of Teen Yoga Foundation across Europe. And then we'll be meditating for peace in the closing session tomorrow evening. So I hope to see all of you again in some of the other sessions that we've got coming up. And once again, thank you so much to Diana, who is just not a teacher in this session, but she's actually one of the members of the partner team, the Yogis Without Borders. So thanks very much, Diana, for joining us.
Thank you everyone for your attention, and we hope to see you in the next sessions too. Bye everyone now.
Oh.